do a follow-up to AniMagic.
I wish
Maybe.
that game franchise had gone to garbage.
All right, let's talk about AniMagic, the Autumn Dream. All right, let's just get some promotionals out of the way. Magic Candle Company, save 15% when you use our code 815 at checkout. What scents are you looking forward to this Halloween season, Jay?
Well, one, there's always a nice part because I believe they have certain like candy type scents, which is always kind of nice, gives you that whole trick or treating kind of feel. However, they do have a lot of horror type scents, such as like the fog scents.
Yeah, they have Haunted. We need to get that one.
They
Tis the
have
season.
if you're from California and you really like your Haunted Mansion Holiday, they do have a version of that that smells like the gingerbread house inside the
Party time. Ghost party.
So it's good at the Ghost Party. You have a few others in there. They're in the spookier scent combinations. Or if you want something more fun, there's plenty of forest type smells to give you that in the woods kind of feeling.
I do like Extraterrestrial Forest. I know that's one of your favorites.
Yeah, that one just brings back happy memories of my dead dad. So.
And again, you can save 40% when you use my code YMAC Dame Asbel over at ymacsweater.com. I love these sweaters. They're great for anything. You can use them for Lolita, vintage fashion, or if you just want just a cozy cardigan. You can't go wrong with ymacsweater.com. They ship within the United States. They ship from the United States, so if you're not waiting on something for too long, because I know when I've had to order stuff from China, it's like, it's taking too long, and I'm still waiting for a Lolita dress from Vietnam to show up since like July. So just know when you order, you'll probably get your sweaters in no time. All right, and an event that we've been asked to promote is Annie Marketplace over in Little Tokyo this Saturday, October 9th. They'll be having a swap meet over at the Japanese American Cultural Center. We wish we could make it, but unfortunately, we're also covering the Honey and Butter Bang Dream event, which is also in Irvine on the same day. So I'm like, macarons, or do we go to Little Tokyo? So just kind of like, unfortunately, like the macaron event is much closer to us, but we wish Anna Marketplace, an amazing event. If you're in the area, do check out Anna Marketplace.
I didn't realize we were double booked.
Yeah, a lot of weekends are really double booked. But however, this is from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
The Macaron event in Irvine starts at 10 a.m.
Yeah, but that requires driving all the way down to, I believe that's Little Tokyo?
Yes, this is Little Tokyo, so we had to go from Irvine to Little Tokyo.
Yeah, well, the point is that I wanted to maybe set up and sell some of our stuff and what have you, like we did last time, which was a lot of fun. And we also ran into some friends there and what have you. It was actually an enjoyable time when we did this back in 2019, I believe.
Yeah, this was before the dark times.
Yeah. So I'm glad to see that they've opened things up again. I really would have liked to go. If they do a spring one in 2022, I will definitely prioritize that, which of course will occur at the exact same time as something like major my family needs me to do.
Yeah, there's just always something major going on. There's like a lot of these small events popping up in Southern California because we don't really have like any anime events per se that's like really on the calendar, and you have like all these like almost like car show events where people are just showing up in cosplaying, and just like small dealers are showing up to just like make up for their losses. So you have like all these like smaller events just kind of popping up around Southern California. Just kind of like, hey, Miss Cosplay, hey, show up to our car show and check us out. I do want to check out at least another one of these events before the end of the year, because I always like getting the pulse of like just kind of what's going on with the convention community. And I think the next one is in Long Beach sometime this month, but it falls on the same day as a day I'm doing the work for Kids Can Cosplay. They're doing a 5K in Long Beach. On the same day. It's like, dang.
They're both in Long Beach?
They're both in Long Beach. One is...
But they're not connected at all.
They're not connected at all. So one is like a 5K for charity, and then there's another event that's going on, like... I don't know where in Long Beach it is, so I just don't know what the logistics would be like if we were to, like, do both.
Well, yeah, but we could do what we did with other events where we had to do the double things, where I go to one, you go to the other, and whoever finishes first meets up with the other.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So we'll figure it out. And then at the end of the month, there's a Filipino bookstore that is doing a Filipino comics, like a one-dayer type thing, over at their store. And
so just your excuse to run around and try to say again.
I effing love Tressay.
I know
It's an
you
amazing
do.
series.
As soon as I heard that, it's like Bill Cox like, oh, gosh, this is just your excuse to run around as Tressay.
And there's a lot of amazing comic book comics coming out of the Philippines. A lot by indie creators. Like there's one I'm reading called Crosswise, which is a boys' love but with cryptids. Yeah, that's what got me into boys' love cryptids. Boys' love is if there's a cryptid in it, not ice skating, but if you put a cryptid in it, I'll read it. Yeah, I'll definitely read a cryptid boys' love. All right. Okay, then, who the heck are we? Well, I'm Dame Scarlett Aznable. I've been attending conventions since 1999. AX 1999 was my first anime convention. I've been cosplaying for quite some time. I've started making my own costumes around 2007 when I picked up a sewing machine and decided, like, you know what? Um, we're in a recession right now. I might as well take this extra time to just kind of like just pick up a new skill, and that new skill was sewing, and I've won a couple of cosplay awards. I'm considered to be a master level cosplayer when it comes to the competition circuit. I haven't really competed in a while. I hope to do it again. I had a lot of fun doing Otacon's non-competition events last Otacon last summer. That was a lot of fun. I really miss being on stage. Some of my favorite characters to cosplay recently: Sailor Mars, Shinobu from Demon Slayer. I might be an old type anime fan, but there's a lot of new stuff I like out there. And in fact, I mentioned earlier that I do a lot of cosplay for charity, and there's a lot of demand for My Hero Academia cosplayers to show up at children's events, so I usually rock Froppy at those. And would you do Todoroki or Ida?
I don't know. Depends on my mood.
All right.
How bad my headache is in the morning. The worse the headache is, the more Todoroki I can be.
And then I also cosplay as Enterprise from one of my favorite mobile games, Azur Lane.
All right. I'm Jared the Greek. I've been attending conventions since about 1991, 92, with the little mini sci-fi comic cons they used to have in LA and Orange County and stuff like that. I got to meet Burt Ward. It was a huge moment for me, and then I got to meet him again as an adult where I wasn't nervous, so I could actually say something to him. And I've been cosplaying since around 2007, 8-ish, when I was convinced to do so by some internet friends, and most of my stuff was the found itemist of found items, but some of them came out pretty well. I also was able to occasionally commission a knickknack. I needed either a like a plush that I did for Keitaro way back when, or other little like parts of costumes, and started going to anime cons in around 2001-ish with Anime Expo, and then eventually learned that there were other cons, and then I went to those that didn't have the word comic or sci-fi in the title. Yeah, I'm the kind of person who doesn't really do masquerade or anything like that. I've done a couple with you, and then that's about it.
You write masquerade skits, though.
I've written plenty of scripts, many of which have won awards, and I've hosted a couple masquerades as well, which is actually a lot of fun. I kind of like doing that. I would like to do it in a larger format where I could be a little more skip. I don't know if it's not skip based, but what I mean is where I can do a little bit of shtick while the people are doing it. I can ham it up on stage a little bit more. It'd be fun. Oh God, I just had this image in my head of us going up as Gil and Saber hosting a masquerade.
I don't know. Stranger things have happened.
That could be hilarious. Generally, yeah, I've been cosplaying a lot as Gilgamesh from the Fate franchise, and I've really found that I love being Tatsu, the husband, the main character of Way of the House Husband. It was recommended to me by an ex, and then like I eventually got into it, and then I was like, I need to cosplay as this character. This is like life goals for me. I want to be that awesome. And,
you are that awesome.
Like,
yeah, because life goals are already there.
No, because I don't take advantage of sales as much as he does. I really should. I don't.
That's why why you have me around to headbutt you for sales.
Yeah. So that's it. I'm just like I have those issues with that. I'm still spendthrift. I'm an extreme spendthrift, so I just don't buy stuff.
All right. What's AniMagic and why are we covering it? Well, AniMagic, just kind of put some context in here. It's been a con that's been running around in the 2000s, and basically it was held at the for the better part of AniMagic, for the better part of its lifetime. It was held over at the Antelope Valley Inn in Lancaster,
which is a great hotel, by the way.
And unfortunately, today that hotel is now a business park.
Oh,
it's completely redone. Now it's a business park.
But they still have the pool just in case.
I wish. Anywho, the reason why we wanted to do this presentation is because AniMagic back then was like the Wild West of anime conventions.
Oh, it was kind of awesome in a lot of ways. I kind of wish I went to more of them.
And what it was like you take a bunch of cosplayers, you go to this con in the middle of the desert, and people have nicknamed this Camp Cosplay for better or for worse. But the good thing about it is like you saw your friends, and a lot of your friends are like hosting a lot of the events. Your friends are hosting the panels. You said they had an amazing game room, and it was Southern California's first anime con that really felt more of a community, because this was like during the days when AniMagic popped up, when Anime Expo was leaning towards more of the industry, which there's nothing wrong with that. I like having my industry
generally
focused
accepted as an industry event.
Yeah, but Anime Expo, they were getting larger. Like it was just back in the day when like, oh my goodness, 10,000 people at Anime Expo. Oh no, the crowds. I mean, that's just kind of like just giving you some context. We look at 10,000 people at an anime con, like, whatever. But Anime Expo, they were really growing, and that was like the really big con in Southern California. If you're living in Southern California, like me at the time, being in high school, I was like, yeah, Anime Expo. And then I'm on Anapike one day. I'm like, what is this AniMagic in Lancaster? I've never heard of, like, where the hell is Lancaster? Is that in Northern California? Because we did have Fanmade too, but just being in high school and having strict Asian parents, I was like, yeah, maybe I can't go to Fanmade just yet. Maybe I'll wait till college when I get accepted at a university in Northern California. I can go to Fanmade. And that happened. But just kind of give you some context, like, just some of the crazy things that you can see at AniMagic. Like, it was very anything goes with most cosplay. Like, you have a Gundam here holding a sign that says free robot sex. And then later on in the evening, he would show up in masquerade and just start rapping how hard it is to be a Gundam. Or how awesome it is to be a Gundam. I don't know. You watch the series. And like you just kind of like just have like a lot of just random shenanigans. You'll kind of see in our slideshow here. Like, for the better part, again, it was held in Lancaster, like at this hotel in the middle of the desert. Like, my friends and I, we had to carpool from Southern California to get to this like almost middle of nowhere place. And there was also a period of my life where I had to go from Northern California to AniMagic. So that was like a major road trip.
Yeah, it's not like you can go to the Lancaster airport.
I've actually do have a friend who flew in from Chicago for AniMagic.
Why? I understand when locals go here to party down.
She flew in with her mom.
Oh, God.
From Chicago to LAX. Ended up being a $200 taxi ride.
Yeah,
and that's early 2000s money.
That's not close to LAX. You'd be better going into Ontario Airport, which they good luck getting a Chicago to Ontario flight. I don't even remember how I heard about this con, because initially I was going to be like, oh, it was on the forums of, I'm like, forums of what? What Anime on DVD was not going off about this. I can't imagine Anime News Network was really covering it. Like, I don't know how I heard about this. This is before I was a cosplayer or anything like that. It was just like, I don't remember how I heard of it. I think the reason I decided to go was it was like right after my midterms. So I was just looking at this as a way of just kind of, it was either right before or right after my midterms. I had to double check on the dates. But it was right around the time where I was like, okay, I'm just going to blow off some steam and just clear my head. Because I was working on my master's degree, and it was just, life can be hell sometimes. So I remember just somehow hearing about it, going with almost no expectation other than this is the middle of nowhere, it has low numbers. But one of the cons I liked that had low numbers for a very long time was Anime Vegas, and his joke that me and my friend had is, it's you and 300 of your closest friends, like, hanging out and playing video games.
Which is a pretty apt description for, like, AniMagic. Like,
yeah.
You and your friends, you pretty much have the whole hotel to yourself, because who the hell goes to Lancaster for vacation?
Yeah. The Elk Valley Inn is an incredibly, like, large and relatively nice hotel.
And you can find people just like that. Like, it's not too hard to find people.
You run into the same people over and over again, like the original few years of Anime Vegas. And it's generally something fun about that. And you just start to feel like, oh, it's my buddy Ben and my buddy Roger. This is cool. What are you guys doing? Oh, we're in the game room, man. They just swapped it up. They're going to put Street Fighter two in there, turbo. Oh, do I'm in. Yeah, I play winner. And you just have that happen, or me just running into someone going like, "Hey, dude, do you drink?" And I'm like, "Man, occasionally. Come on." This grabs me and drags me to a party. You have those kinds of moments. You run into people in the dealer hall, and then 10 minutes later, you run into them by the pool. It's just I miss that kind of con. I would love to have a con where it's just like, yeah, we're capping this at like 300 people or 500 people, and just if you get in, you get to be part of this fun party. Plus, it felt like everyone was like college age.
Yes.
Like there wasn't a bunch of 10-year-olds running around or anything like that. And
me and my friends were still in high school, but we still had a great time.
No offense to the parents out there, no offense to like the kids out there, but there's something fun about just being around people your same age, who've all seen the same shows, who like the same video games, who just all want to have a time to celebrate those things.
A lot of the demographic here was definitely the Toonami generation.
Oh, for sure.
So it was like a lot of us in high school and a lot of us like earlier in college that just like really enjoyed watching like just the stuff that was like went in the early days of Toonami. So it's very reflective in the fandom. Like you'll see people like there was a Cowboy Bebop cosplay gathering, and this one Ed cosplayer would not stop glomping me for whatever reason because I was cosplaying as Toru. I'm like, okay, like why is this Ed glomping me?
You gotta narrow down your Toru. There's a lot of Torus.
Toru from Fruits Basket. Because
yeah, I knew what you were talking about, but I'm like, there's a lot of Torus.
Yeah, we had a Fruits Basket meetup, and also Sakura Tyson was also pretty huge back then, especially when it came to the musicals, and there was like a lot of Sakura Tyson cosplayers, so I always made it a point to cosplay as Soletta or Hime anytime that was coming up.
I'm trying to remember what cosplayers, but I remember some Pokemon people, because one of my sort of friends was one of the Pokemon people on his.
Yeah, we can like just go through. So just kind of giving you an idea where Lancaster is. So.
Oh yeah. Let's let anyone out of state realize like how this is not like a local con per se.
So I actually put here on the map. This is Lancaster right here. This is where we generally are. It's a bit of a drive. Like for the longest time, because I didn't know where Lancaster was. Like, where the hell is Lancaster? Like, is that Northern California? And I was asking like my teachers, like. Yeah, I'm going to Northern California this weekend. Going to Lancaster. Like, Lancaster, that's like right by Magic Mountain. Like, okay. Yeah. Like, this is like the first time, like, as a teen, I'm going on a road trip. Because you always hear about, like, all these great teenage road trip stories. Mine was AniMagic in my junior year of high school. And then, like, you have this desert on the right-hand side that you see, like, as you're driving. It's just nothing but desert after a point.
It's one of those things of, like, there's nothing here. I was wondering when we actually got there, am I at the right place? Because this doesn't feel right to me. And then, I'll have to tell a story. I don't know if we're going to have registration horror stories, but I have a registration horror story for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just remembered, like, that whole getting there. And because getting the hotel was nice, getting my room, I was like, oh, this room's really big and what have you. And it's like, all right, all I need to do is just pick up my badge and we'll just be on our way. And, yeah, not so much.
And then AniMagic also had a stint in Valencia in 2004. So
well before I ever even knew this con existed.
It was strange because the place where they had the convention in Valencia was like at this really fancy hotel, like in the middle of like where all the tourists were staying for Magic Mountain, and a lot of it was a pretty high-class area, and it was also a pretty high-class hotel. And then you have me and my friends running around in Kill Bill cosplay. And here's a photo from the time that Yaya and her friends decapitated me.
No, you gotta have hobbies.
So, like, when Here's the Cosplay came out, I just started posting this photo around because, like, hey, yeah, I remember Yaya Han. She decapitated me that one time at AniMagic. But yeah, when I was in Valencia, people generally didn't like it. I thought the hotel was very beautiful. I had other reasons for not liking Valencia, but that was just more had to do with just experiences with other people, because sometimes, depending on what the people you are at cons, that can really make or break your convention experience.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, it was a beautiful place. I mean, it was like the first time I was running a panel. Whatever. It wasn't really a panel, it was just like, hi, this is just a display of like how to scrapbook convention memories. and no one showed up because everyone was already hungover by
Oh
Sunday
yeah, you don't
morning.
do anything Sunday at AniMagic. Don't run a panel. Even the guests, like I remember was a couple of the people from Full Metal Alchemist were at the con, and they were literally just sitting by the pool, and I didn't realize it was a panel. I was just like, there was like zones of just chairs where just people were just like, okay, the game room is basically closed. I have no more reason to go back to the dealer hall, but I don't want to leave yet. And there were just chairs, around like how hotels would have just chairs around either the pool or just wherever. And a lot of us were just like collapsed in our chairs, like, and they just come out and start talking about stuff, and I'm like, is it a panel or are they just talking with people? Like, I don't know what this is right now. Everything hurts.
All right, we're going to go through the
I'm gonna go play
program book.
Advance Wars and pretend this doesn't exist.
We're going to go through the program book of the first year of AniMagic because this is pretty special. Special in ways like nostalgia, but it's also just like how people talked about anime back then in the early 2000s. So this was written by Chairman Revell Walker. I always like his name always reminded me of that model kit company.
From France.
Mm-hmm.
I used to build their stuff.
Yeah, my younger brother used to be into like model making. All right. Welcome, everyone! On behalf of the staff and volunteers, welcome to AniMagic. This convention is a culmination of countless hours and labor and brainstorming from the anime fans of the Antelope Valley, many whom felt that the time had come for their own celebration of anime. For some of us, it was destiny to put this event on. Destiny. For me personally, it was the closing of a circle that began right here in the valley some 17 years ago. It was 1983, August. While on leave from Tokyo, I discovered the world of anime. Macross, Orgras, Votoms, and the magical girls of television anime left me with a feeling like life was renewed and certainly was worth looking forward to.
I didn't know he was military.
Yeah, he's military. A lot of Lancaster. That's where like a lot of military folks that kind of settled down. At least at the time, because a lot of the Lancaster, a lot of people in Lancaster. Now that I think about it, because there's like a lot of military veteran like car shows type things out there. Because I've actually been invited to do pinup stuff out there for that. It's like, yeah, come to our support our vets car show. I'm like, it's a Lancaster though, and I need someone to do my hair. Anyway, let's get back. It would be an understatement to say that anime has changed the direction of me and my friends' lives for the better. The links we have to Japan and our friends are still strong. To look back at where anime has come in America is a marvel to behold. In 1988, fan subbing was in infancy, and watching anime was a unique challenge to understand a story with a Subgnosis page. Who remembers that? That made it all more enjoyable. The price of an unsubbed tape from Japan was $150.
Well, yeah, because the tapes in Japan are more expensive than tapes in America, and you had to get it from Japan, which is a whole nother.
That's a whole nother video.
Yeah, shipping from Japan wasn't like it is now. Even now, it's not great either. Trust me, I'm a Gunpla person. But
yeah.
You can at least, you can imagine just what the shipping costs and the time. So by the time you even get the tape, the series is probably completed. And you're like, oh, cool, I got one or two of the episodes. Yay.
It can be had for $19.95/$24.95 now. The fans today have it easy, but the challenge is different. We have a new fan base to educate.
We still do.
Yeah, we still do. So now that fan base they were talking about educating, that was like us. So this is like a veteran in more ways than one of anime. It's like just also encouraging our generation at the time to like, hey, like Wells is out there for like us who've like kind of went through the Toonami, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball route. So that was just like the audience at the time. So like even though like a lot of us were Toonami folks, the people running behind the scenes were like the older old taku.
And now we're in that category. Yay.
Yay.
But hey, that's the reason I do my Super Robot History panel, because I want to teach people about Mazinger and Getter and Votoms and things like that.
Our mission at AniMagic is to show you what was out there beyond Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, and Pokemon. It's also our mission to show you the country of origin, Japan.
Don't know if they did that particularly well, but they did. I don't know if they did anything particularly well. Come to think of it, is there a video room? Probably.
We actually do have like the video room schedule here.
Oh my god, I want to hear it.
Yeah, it's like year one, we can learn about what was showing in the video room.
Because I don't. I'm sure there was a video room when I went. I have no idea where it was or what it was showing.
Okay, we can get into the video room in a few. To know Japan and its history, and to know its elements of the storyline and the in-joke, the passion its characters, and the scope of their imagination, something we seem to lack in American television animation.
I'll agree.
Finally, you young people, who are certainly here for the celebration and the fifth and sixth generation of anime fans. What?
I mean, if you're talking about from Japan in general to this point, sure, but not American. We were like the second generation American fans.
What you do with this newfound interest is entirely up to you. But please, don't just watch it. Do something positive with it, and it's all in caps lock.
Well, I do appreciate that message. Also, another point, if he's really like, get off my lawn, you kids. Like, the way he's talking about stuff. I understand he was older than what we were at the time. I understand that completely. It's just more the point of, like, I don't know which one I prefer, the, hey, fellow kids, or the whole, like, listen, you youngsters, oh, you got your tsunamis? Well, that's just super fancy cool. Remember how I had to see Mobile Suit Gundams? I had to have my friend, Takedo, tape it off of TV, write down a thing of what the people were saying, and send it to me so I could watch his tape and read what they were saying.
I'm not really reading it that way at all. I'm just reading it in a way. It's like, hey kids, like there's a lot of stuff out there, and be sure to check it out.
Like how you and I are getting different things out of this, where I would have probably stopped halfway through reading, so oh yeah. Okay, I got it, old man.
Okay.
And you're doing the whole thing. You're like, no, he's really talking some positivity stuff here.
But let me just kind of like, but let me just finish this because this is where I've come to my conclusion on that.
Okay.
Study the Japanese language and culture. Learn, read, write kanji. Take a trip to Japan. Take lessons buried in each series and place them in your code of living. There are plenty. They are there to see if you pay attention. Even in the watered down form of Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball has recurring themes. You should always strive to be the best person you can be, and you can always count on your friends and family to never let you down. So with this all said, go forth, have a wonderful time. Ravel Walker, Chairman, AniMagic.
All right. No, like it ends well. It's just a lot of early on. It just feels very much a old man anime. I'm sure I sound like too at my panels. Watch something from the 70s. I don't care if it was 30 years before you were born.
There's a lot of awesome 70s stuff out there.
There is. It's just me getting, like, I feel like I come off that way sometimes.
Like, hey kids, watch Rose of Versailles. Sword lesbians.
I feel like I should do a panel called The Great Anime That Came Out Before You Were Born. Yeah. It's just 70s and 80s stuff. And probably some 90s.
You know, we should just have a panel called, like, Old People Talk About Anime.
You, me, like a couple of our other friends, we just do a panel where you throw out a series and we all talk about why we love it.
But Scarlett, you're not that old. Like, if I tell you my real age, I think I've already kind of disclosed it kind of here if you do some math.
Yeah, I want to point out that we are Toonami generation, and that is different than even my younger brother's generation. Well, Toonami was around while he was, like, little. He has, like, almost no memory of it.
All right, let's look at the guest of honor for year one.
Oh, let's hear it.
Mari Iijima.
Oh, that's actually a big guest.
Yeah, that was a huge get. Like, for me, like, that was a big deal.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, oh, it's gonna end up being like some random person from Robotech. Just like one actor from Robotech. No, we got the Min-Mei.
And I didn't know at the time that she was local to Los Angeles. Like, cool.
Which is probably how they got her.
Yeah, I didn't know she's a Japanese American because she just immigrated from Japan to the United States to like get more work out here. But she's still touring conventions. Like, she's going to be at Super Dimensional Fortress Macross Con, which is also towards the end of October. Like, why are all these cons and these events happening at the end of October?
The last 3 months of the year, and it's difficult for us to be able to do much when they're that close and back to back to back to back or at the same time. But yeah, she's wonderful. She tells some great stories. Her voice, she's still got the pipes. She is wonderful.
And not only she'll sing it while she's playing the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's super talented, and I really have a lot of admiration for her. And I'll talk more about her because I do have a positive story about her. Not all in convention tea is like, okay, yeah, dish the tea. Like, let me know the gossip. Like, no, I actually have some positive memories of AniMagic. All right, next guest.
Most of my memories are positive.
Yeah.
I just throw shade at the con because it was like it felt so half-assed. And the registration thing.
Yeah, Kat Cressida. Kat Cressida is the voice actress for Cartoon Network's Dexter's Laboratory. This is her first
Is
appearance.
that Dexter? Or is she Dee Dee?
I don't know. Let's Google this really quick. Kat Cressida.
Either way, that's a good get.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those ones where I'm like, depending who it is, it completely changes what the conversation is. So I think Dexter is voiced by a
Because
lady.
normally they would like list all the credits in the programming guide. Well, let's see who she is.
Well,
Okay,
saying she's from the show is one thing, but I mean, she could be like the mom who has like one line of
or
dialogue per
additional
episode,
voices.
or additional voices. So, but if she's like Dee Dee or she's Dexter, that's amazing.
Oh,
Who is she?
I actually do follow her on Twitter, and I think she also follows us on Twitter too.
Now I feel like a joke. She can go somewhere else. Sorry.
No, she's gonna. Well, if she thinks you're a jerk, she'll take her hatchet and cut off your head.
Who is she?
The Haunted Mansion Bride,
It. Oh, she does the.
and she also does
I
the voiceover
did.
lessons.
I do.
I did.
I didn't realize she became the voice for that. Wow, she's done a lot of stuff then, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's Dee Dee in seasons 2 and 4.
There we 2 and 4.
I guess they replaced the voices.
Weird.
I'm just looking here.
Okay, so Dee Dee.
In Initial D, she's the voice of Natsuki, Natalie Mogi.
Oh yeah, for the weird.
Additional voices,
messed
a couple
up
of Ghibli type of things. But yeah, Kat Cressida, voice of the Haunted Mansion
Dude.
Ghost Bride.
That's well, one. I don't know if she had done that at 2004. I don't know when they
This was 2000.
or 2000. I don't know
the-
when they redid the voice for.
They did that like sometime. I should know this, being Disney people.
Sure.
Like, I want to say in the later part of the O's, because I remember.
So it may not have happened yet. But being Dee Dee in Dexter's Lab is kind of a huge deal.
Mhm.
That show was really popular, people. It's hard to really. I know people look at Cartoon Network now as like a joke. Cartoon Network, when it did its cartoons in like the late 90s, early 2000s, had some strong entries that voice actors from those shows are still going strong today, and stuff is getting terrible remakes like the Powerpuff Girls. But like the Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo. Okay, Johnny Bravo was not good of a show, but those two were great. Samurai Jack got introduced around that time period. I mean, there's some great cartoons they had for a while. And then it dwindled down to like nothing. Then they got like Adventure Time. Then it dwindled down to nothing again.
All right, performing guests. We have Venice Koshin Taiko. I guess that's a local taiko group. Panelist guests. Let's see what they got here.
I want to be a panelist guest again.
Mm-hmm. I guess
Not this, any con, really. Any con, I want to be a panelist guest.
Panelist guest Mike Hazeman Hayes. Mike will be holding a panel on how to create your own manga.
Coolsies.
All right. E.T. and Elizabeth Bryan, creators of Gremlin Trouble.
That's probably a webcomic or something, I imagine.
Yeah, Ed Luna of Bobo Genki Studios. Yeah, webcomics were really huge in
They
the
were.
early
They were
2000s,
really awesome,
because this is
yeah.
like the beginning of it, as it was just really starting to take off. David and Kimberly Ramsey. Yeah, I don't like them.
Okay.
No one should. Of Cosplay Closet, well, giving their panels on cosplay, like they did like a lot of really bad things after AniMagic, to the point where they just started doxing cosplayers left and right
Ouch.
because they had a personal beef with a cosplay group. Like, okay, I understand like just having beef with someone, but at the same time, dude, don't dox people. That's not cool.
Yeah,
I will just leave it at that, because the actual story behind it gets really messy, and even though like I wanted to just help out like a lot of the victims, and I was told like not to get involved with it because like at the time I was a minor, and in that time I really like helping people, and I just wanted to like just see what I could do for people, but because it just got so ugly where people were just being doxxed left and right, I'm like, okay, just stay out of it, and
I had no
just do what
idea
you can.
about this.
All right.
That's one thing I'll say about smaller events. While it does turn out to be like you and like 300 of your closest friends, it also can end up being you and 300 of your worst enemies.
Tristan Citrine, costume coordinator of
She sounds
Sailor
familiar to me.
Jamboree Cosplay Group,
Oh, that's
will be
fine.
here
Okay.
for the panels and wig making and Sailor Moon costuming. Like, she was
God,
like
they
the
were huge
person,
for a while,
yeah.
too.
Like, they did like a lot of recreation of the Sailor Moon musical choreography. Tristan Citrine, she was also working in Vegas at the time as a costume designer, and she would make all their costumes, and she would also create like her own spin to a lot of these Sailor Moon designs, and I thought that was always cool, and I always thought like, yeah, I really want to like just make something elaborate like this, but because I was like an honor student, AP student in high school, like I simply don't have the time. But let me
Oh, really?
admire you from afar while I'm being like overachiever Asian in high school. So much so that I had to like dip piece out for AniMagic 2001 because I just had like so much going on, college applications, um, entrance testing, and I was also involved with drama club and law performing arts clubs. And Joyce Wakabayashi, fanfic writer.
All right.
All right, let's go over the rules. General conduct.
You have all these photos of like the original program guide.
Yes, I still have the program guide. Like it's sitting because I collected program. I used to collect program guides.
I had throw them away in a move. I kind of feel bad about that actually.
Because I just kind of feel like these are just artifacts of like
Yeah.
convention past, and like it's good to hold on to these. Like I'm not a hoarder or anything, but I just like collecting these just kind of like as a souvenir type thing. And this was, as you can see here, it's not the best put together program because like okay maybe you need something like well it's like a magazine kind of thing, but this was just kind of like you print it on like hardback paper, staple it, move
Fold
on.
it.
Yeah.
Because I had a move where I got rid of all my old badges, all my old program guides, and all my old Nintendo Power magazines.
All right.
In retrospect, I hate myself for that.
All right. The rules. General conduct. We are here to have fun, but not at anyone else's expense. We are not Shriners. We are not church mice either. AniMagic expects proper conduct from all its staff, its attendees. Destruction of property allowed, rude behavior, public drunkenness, and vulgar language will not be tolerated.
All right. Yep.
No water pistol squirting or Nerf projectiles whacking.
Oh, that was always the fun thing at like summer cons. I was straight with that. That's an Anime Vegas story.
AniMagic reserves the right to eject anyone from the convention or hand them over to the LA County Sheriff Department for violating con rules, state and federal laws.
What's yours for LA County?
Yes.
Huh.
It's like way off.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
LA
feel
County.
close to LA. It's
I'm
like
like,
right on
does
the edge
Valencia
of
have
LA.
its own county? Because when I was just like showing you just where in relation to where it was, like what you're like, what the hell is a Saugus?
Yeah. I figured they'd be part of their own.
Yeah, I thought Valencia was
zone.
like its own type of thing.
I mean, it'd probably be there for a few of the other smaller towns in that same area. It'd be a large zone because there just wasn't enough civilization. But I figured it was that, not like, and LA County's a little loop in this one town, like way out of the way.
Liquor and beer. Purchases of liquor off-site is permitted. It may be consumed in the privacy of your room and must not be consumed in open hotel areas such as the lobby or the convention center venue rooms. It is...
Oh, what a weird thought. I wish other smaller cons would follow that rule.
Right? It's especially must not be consumed in the hotel parking lots. The California legal drinking age is 21. Con room parties involving liquor must ensure that all participants are of legal drinking age.
Oh, yeah, we totally did that. Eyes shifting left and right.
AniMagic security staff must be posted at the door to check ID.
Oh,
No security, no drinking.
that would be really cool. That never happened at any con I've been to
Any
outside
con.
the East Coast.
Any anime con I've ever attended never had any of that.
Yeah.
That's more of a something from a sci-fi,
That's a sci-fi con thing.
con thing because I remember that happened at Worldcon. Because not only they're checking for ID, they also want to make sure that you're associated to con, and you have to like flash your badge.
Your bed, yeah. Some cons will do that. Some room parties should do that too, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be against adding in the badge thing because I hate like ghoster people who go to certain cons just to get wasted.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Because on my fence, I may have ghosted a con. I've never gone to any of the parties when I ghosted a con. I'd show up, I'd say hi to a few friends, I'd GTFO.
Mm-hmm. All room occupants under the age of 18 must be accompanied by an adult, a relative, or guardian of all times. Signing in a minor and leaving him or her for the weekend is prohibited.
Mm.
All overnight guests in AniMagic must have lodgings. Sleeping in the lobby, convention open areas in its venues is prohibited. It has to be printed in there.
Yeah. I think they thought about that ahead of time. Like, yeah, that's a good idea. No hoboing this con. Either you're the hotel guest or you go home, but you can't just sleep randomly.
Okay, here's my favorite part of the rules.
Although I think I had a friend who went to a con and literally slept in his car.
Wow.
Because you could get away
Oh,
with that.
I actually did have a friend who did that
Yeah.
too. She slept in her car at San Diego Comic Con. Like, well, I couldn't get the room lottery, so I'll guess I'll sleep in my car
Yeah.
because I did get the parking lot lottery.
Things those reconnected. Yeah. So I had a friend who did that. Two friends. Come to think of it, I think who've done that.
All right, my favorite part: hygiene. Wash your butt. It says in here, wash your butt.
The butt's the least of the problems, I assure you. Having gone to Anime Boston, the butt is the least of the problems.
Um, Change your clothes, freshen your breath, brush your teeth. Show us all your anime t-shirts. We really want to see them.
Yeah, no, don't wear the same one for 3 days in a row.
I didn't get that until I started going to more cons. Like, wait, what do you mean by shows all your anime shirts? And then it took me like a couple of them conventions to understand
Yeah, there's people I
that.
would recognize because they had the one shirt they'd always wear. Also, there's a rule for also for cosplayers, please, because sometimes wearing the same costume 2 days in a row, you can pull it off if it's like a winter con or something. You cannot pull it off at a summer con. Your costume will smell of sweat and BO, and it is nothing ruins your like moment of like, oh my gosh, it's my favorite character, and can I have a hug? And sure, yeah, of course you can have a hug. And, oh god, I'm gonna throw up if you hold me for too long. Please go away.
All right,
Don't,
sales.
don't tell the person if you hold me for too long, I'll throw up. Though they find that very rude.
All right, sales. Sales of merchandise from your hotel room is prohibited. You may not sell items in the dealer's room unless you have a booth to do so and sign a contract with the dealer room manager. I actually did room with someone who did try to sell stuff from his hotel room.
I don't know why I find that funny, but I'm like, you'd have to know that that person was selling stuff from their room. You'd have to literally be told, oh, if you really want some cool DVDs, go to room 217. Guy there will give you a good deal. Like it feels like some guy in a trench coat and a hat and a fedora should be like, yeah, you want some DVDs? Just opens up his coat. I got everything you want here, man. Everything you want. We got Pioneer. We got ADV. We got everything, man.
This
What you
roommate,
looking for?
this roommate was cosplaying from Giant Robo, and he looked like a pimp.
I assume he was going as one of the pilots then?
No, he was going like as like this character wearing like yellow, and he did like a pimped out version of him.
Okay.
Anyway,
But again, he still opened up his trench coat and what you looking for, man? What do you want? You want, oh man, you want the good stuff? Closes the door, opens up the other side of the jacket. Yeah, dude, I got stuff directly from Japan. The hard stuff. You can't handle this.
and then you find out they're like the Chinese DVDs with like the funky English subtitles, because
Yep.
that happened to me at the AniMagic dealer's room. Because like I had like a couple friends like, yeah, you can get like the Chinese DVDs. They're a lot cheaper. They were like $30 at the time, and $30 versus like a box set, a legit licensed box set.
Yeah.
That was the difference between like night and day. And as a poor college student, like, okay, I'll get these Chinese imports. And yeah, it was the ones with the funky subtitles.
Yeah, my friend had picked up Flame of Recca that way, and was like
Much regrets.
trying to figure out. He's just like, what is a whole flame? Because they got the word holy wrong, and they spelled it like HOLL or something like that, like whole. And then a certain like a later, I think eventually he got the manga, and it's just like that power. That's the holy flame. It's like, oh, holy flame. That makes way more sense.
I watched Fruits Basket like that, and they called Kyo Cat the whole time.
Yeah. So he had like a bunch of move names and character names wrong. It's like the manga. Like,
And I was like, I'm just
makes
gonna
way
like
more sense.
just go via the methods until I get a real job. All right, costuming. We recognize the right of all participants to express themselves through cosplay, even you few male demented souls out there who like wearing Sailor Moon costumes.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with dressing up like Melvin or Tuxedo Mask. Oh, that's something nice.
Well, you cosplay as Alan with a flute.
I do, because I actually play the flute, and it's a comfortable-ish costume.
Ish. I need to fix that part.
Yep.
Let's see. We asked all costumes to see good taste, not excessively revealing. This is Lancaster we're talking about here, and the locals might not be able to handle your rendition of tiramisu OVA version from Sorcerer Hunters. Do not fly your costume to non-con guests of the hotel in the lobby areas.
I'll be honest here. I don't remember many scantily clad cosplayers when I went.
Neither do I, but I do remember the Gundam who was just running around with a sign that said free robot sex.
It's
And
true.
he wasn't getting any crap for that. There was a year.
Signs didn't matter back in the day. I miss signs not mattering back in the day. But I was going to say, I think it was the weather. Because I remember when I went, I was wearing my leather jacket, and you wouldn't wear my leather jacket like in the middle of like summer heat because I'm not one of those weirdos. So I know it had to be cold enough for me to wear a leather jacket, and I remember there was a girl who was kind of into me who wanted to borrow my leather jacket because she was cold, which is really hard because I don't really let people wear my armor. So I found other means of warming her up. But the point is, it was probably too cold to wear anything like that, anyways. Unless you're some hardcore person who's like, no, I'm going out there in my let's see, you got to go back to the time, dirty pair outfit because I want these stupid photos and I'll deal with the cold. So I assume there are people like that who maybe went out, like wore something, got those photos, and then just ran back to their hotel room and said, okay, I'm going to wrap myself in a blanket for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to put on another costume. Because I remember being pretty darn cold when I went.
Yeah,
windy too.
It
Very
was
windy.
It especially got cold like later in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I mean, it's still nice for them to put out a thing of saying like, yeah, there's normal people here. Please don't freak them out. I do appreciate that. It's more the point of me just thinking about that, going like, it was a little chilly. I don't know how many people are that hardcore to get those photos when they could just wait a few months and then get those photos in like March.
All right. The small rule, the usual rules about the prop weapon supply. They have to be peace bombed by security, can't be replicas or real firearms, and must be applicable to the character in the anime you are portraying. All props are subject to inspection and approval by the cosplay organizers of the masquerade and by security anytime during the convention. Unless you have a death wish, do not point or brandish props at any law enforcement official.
That's a good idea. It's just in general, don't do that.
Costumes must be safer to wear and those around the wearer. Protruding objects that, like the popular shoulder armor, must be made of soft material. Things that might injure con-goers are not allowed. The protrusions must not extend more than 3 inches beyond the shoulders or any of your part of your body.
Cosplayers, you know who you are.
The ultimate arbiter of what's safe and what isn't will be our troubleshooters and security. I remember
one guy who was going as Legolas from Lord of the Rings, and he got like they kept getting on his case about his like bow and arrow, and he would literally take off his quiver, and he had put the arrows like just the arrow tips, and then they were in like a base thing that he plugged into the top of it, and he pulled it out and said, "Look, they're not actual arrows, but I need the arrows there because I'm freaking Legolas." And then they like, well, then unstring the bow. And he's like, oh, sure. He would unstring the bow, and then security would leave, and he would immediately just string his bow again. It was great. It was good times. He was a cool dude. All right. He was the only Lotor person I saw there.
All right, let's talk about live programming. Dealer's Hall, open 1,400 to 1,900 hours.
Half the people at the counter like, I don't know what those are.
Yeah.
That's only a 5-hour dealer hall.
It's Friday.
Oh, Friday. Okay. I was like, that's really
all right, I'll go over the panels that were presented, not like, okay, this is what's open between these hours. Anime Trivia Game, Dance Dance Revolution Tournament, Opening Ceremonies, Nihon Nights Garden Party, Anime Karaoke, Industry Panel, Bandai Entertainment.
Wow, they actually went all the way out to... Wow. That's... No anime company or video game company at this point would waste their time with something as small as this.
Drawing Manga, Independent Comics for Fun and Profit, Sailor Moon Costuming and Wig Making, Sailor Jamboree and the Sailor Mew Experience. I actually did attend that panel. That was a lot of fun. Mario Jima panel. I also attended that panel. Cat Cressida panel. Yeah, she's been dying to see you. Cosplay Faux Pas. Drawing Anime Characters. Masquerade Rehearsal. Fan Fiction. Mario Jima Concert. Cosplay Under the Stars.
Yeah, that was always the thing they would promote.
Akiyumi's anime dance, Dream Dance. I actually did attend dance. Anime Dance 21 plus. Yeah, obviously I wasn't 21 at the time, but I heard like people like not a lot of people showed up, so the real party was at the Akiyumi Anime Dream Dance.
And they did 2 dances at the same time?
Yeah, they did 2 dances at the same
That's
time.
Just dumb.
Dealer's Room.
I mean, unless they're extremely different. Like, I guess you could have, like, Craig's Ballroom Dance and, like, the Rave at the same time, because those are going to draw in completely different audiences. But it seems kind of silly to just do 2 different dances that seem like they're probably very similar.
costume presentation and you, drawing anime art, music video contest, Mario Jima panel.
They had an AMV contest at one point?
Mm-hmm.
Crap, I could...
I was so close to entering the AMV contest
I
one year.
That.
I would have wanted to, but my ex was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Basically, he was just trying to just get me to not enter the AMV contest because of jealousy reasons. But I'm like,
make his own video. You both enter. Enter in different categories. You do drama, you do action. There, done. I've solved your problem.
oh, I can go into just that kind of happened
Actually,
to us.
Drama seems like it's his thing. You take action, he'll do drama.
Mm-hmm. No, he even tried to one up me with anime music videos, but we can get into that.
The point is that you could both go into the contest together and just be in different categories in case you don't feel comfortable competing against each other in the same category. Which, yeah, I think I'd be in that position if I ever dated an AMV person. I probably would have been like, okay, cool. We separate our categories. I'm not competing against you because if you beat me or I beat you, it's going to cause tension, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I can speak to that actually.
Yeah.
Cat Cressida panel. Hurry back. Hurry back. Sorry, after learning that, I'm like,
Did we? No, someone else who showed up at D20. D23, rather.
Fan fiction, Marijima concert, closing ceremonies. And the last panel, product improvement session.
That's a weird way for... I figure I know what they're talking about. They're talking about the con grape, right?
Yes, con grape.
It's a weird way of phrasing it. Product improvement session. Because it feels like okay, so you guys have tried out our brand new surfboards, and what do you guys have any issues with it? I don't know why I said surfboards. We're in the middle of the desert. You've tried our brand new desert camouflage. Let's hear some feedback.
All right, so let's just talk about just briefly. What was our first AniMagic? Well, I went year 1, 2000. It was around this time this year, 21 years ago, that I decided to just a few friends of mine were asking like, "Hey, are you going to do AniMagic?" Like, yeah, you should totally bring your Utena cosplay and we can have some fun. So just me and a bunch of other high school students and their parental chaperone, and we just hopped into their SUV. And we just carpooled over to AniMagic, and it was just like, wow, this is just middle of nowhere. It's like off this dark desert highway.
It almost felt like a secret con.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm like, Lancaster, really? And then I didn't have the mindset of the time to appreciate AniMagic, because I think prior to that, I would go to Anime Expo for 2 days, and just hey, I love the dealer's hall. And that's what I would mainly do. I wasn't really into cosplaying. I didn't get my Utena cosplay until a little bit before AniMagic. So this is my first con that I ever cosplayed at. And I just really didn't really understand why people really appreciate AniMagic. It's well, this is a small con. I don't know if I want to go to it again. I mean, I did find some Saint Tail dolls, and I was really into anime doll collecting at the time. But I did have in retrospect, I did have a positive experience, but I didn't understand at the time why people were calling it camp cosplay, why people had a huge appreciation for AniMagic, because I only been to 2 anime expos prior, and those were just day visits. What was your first AniMagic?
I want to say 2007, probably. This is before I was a cosplayer or anything like that. And like I said, I feel like I randomly heard about it the year before, and people were talking a lot about how good it was. And I remember probably looking over the lineup, and I'm like, there's nothing at this con. Okay. And it happened, I want to say it was a November one, so it would have been after midterms, or right around, probably right after midterms. I wouldn't have done something if it was before midterms. That's the reason I never did Fanime until I graduated, because it was always right before midterms. I'm like, I can't lose a weekend where I should be studying or working on major papers to dick around with some anime people. So I believe this is right after that. And I remember, I think I had the last midterm on a Thursday, and I'm visually impaired, so I needed to have assistance with driving over there. And I didn't even know if it was going to happen, even though I'd already bought my ticket and all that. And I was feeling really bad. I was like, no, don't worry about it. He got over there, got my hotel room, and walked to the registration thing. I was like, all right, this is my name, here's my stuff. I'm you're not in the system. I have a printout right here. How do you mean I'm not in the system? and then they grouped you with a group of other people who had to go to like a back office area place. All of us basically having the exact same complaint of they lost our registration and having to argue with them
I
to
actually
get
did
our
hear about that.
registration. And I was so, it was like the worst possible thing. It's like I'm exhausted trying things. I had to essentially go on this long roundabout trip to eventually get here because of, needing a ride from someone. It's not like I went directly from Orange County to Lancaster's, Orange County to like LA to then back loop around to Lancaster. But I made it here. I got my hotel with no problems. All I want is my freaking badge so I can play some video games or go to the pirate party, whatever the hell that is, or just hang out by the pool and watch cosplayers do stupid cosplay stuff around the pool. I don't care. I just want my vacation, please. And I remember all of us just yelling at them. And I think by the time that they got to me, I was like the fourth person they were dealing with. They were just like, let me see. Yeah, sure. And they just handed, they didn't even have regular guest badges, not guest badge, the term for the attendee badges. I think I literally was given either an industry badge or like that wasn't a staff badge. I think it was like an industry badge or something. Like they had like other stuff left over, but they had no more standard ones at that point either. So not only did I, because I then had a badge that was a higher rank than I had, and I was like, well, coolsies. And I don't know if that changed how people approached me or not, just seeing me as industry, if they all thought I was like working for, Bandai or Pioneer or ADV or whatever. But like, it was, I would have taken more advantage of the industry thing if I was older and wiser. Because I'd be the whole like, oh yeah, son, yeah, thanks. Would have been fun, but I remember just that, and then just being kind of like really annoyed for the first chunk of time. Like, okay, I'm gonna go to the dealer hall to see what they got there, and then I ended up picking up. I have these decorative katanas I have, and I saw them, and there was these beautiful red katanas. And they're red scabbards. Katanas themselves are normal colored, and I just looked at them. I was like, oh wow, these are really cool. And the guy's like, I've been trying to sell these for like the entire year, and no one will buy them. I'll give them to you for like $30 or something. And I
Hey,
was
not
like,
bad.
it was like $30 or $40, and I was like, I literally opened up my wallet, which I was planning to not buy anything. I don't buy anything on day one, 90% of the time, unless there's something specific that I need to have. Like when I got my Chocobo Tails plush, and it was the first time I'd ever seen that, and they had like three. And it was like, this is the only three we have. I was like, here's my money. Like, but normally I don't do the here's my money thing, and that one I actually did.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought this back to my room, and I was like, that changed my mentality. I'm like, oh, I got these cool looking decorative swords I can now put up in my room, and they're red. It's gonna look really good with the rest of my stuff in my room. Oh man, this is great. And that turned me around, and then after that it was, game room. I did like no panels. I walked past the panels because they were happening by the pool, which is weird. Like I said, I don't remember where the video room was. I'm sure it existed. I also did the pirate party, which was just more a underage girl hitting on me for like an hour until I eventually was like, I need to go to the game room or something. I'm starting to feel a little weird.
All right. I did talk about earlier in this presentation on this stream. I do have a lot of positive memories of my first year. One of them was meeting Mario Jima. And my friends at the time, like, they didn't really care much for Mario Jima because they've been to a lot more cons than I did. Again, I had strict
She went to a lot of
parents.
stuff back
Yeah,
then.
she was a freaking guest at Anime Expo, Fanime Shoot World concert. But this is like my first time watching a Mario Jima concert, and I went in I just wore my Utena cosplay, sat in the front row, like there's no seats here, so I attended not her panel and her concert, and then she recognized me because I was also wearing Utena on the last day too, because like I just need like just a last day costume to wear. I'll just rewear Utena because I was originally like, I'll just wear regular clothes, but I like cosplaying. I had a lot of fun cosplaying for the first time at a con. So yeah, that's me cosplaying as Utena. I didn't even have a wig at the time because no pink wig complemented my mocha skin tone.
Yeah, all you would have been able to go is to like a party city and find like a really garish pink wig.
I even tried that, and like I just look back at those photos like, no, it's terrible.
Garish and terrible.
And I'm just so glad that we have like a lot more options to like just choose like a lot of wig tones. Like otherwise, like here I am just wearing the Utena costume, just wearing regular hair. But what was nice was Marijima recognized me, and I wasn't intending on attending her panel or her concert on the last day because I just wanted to just do like a dealer's room final sale, because like I always go on the last day to get the best deals. I got myself a Do You Remember Love poster, and I just happened to have it in my hand. And I was just walking by the poolside. Mario Jima just points. I'm like, "Hey, you were on my panel and my costume yesterday. Like, are you a huge fan?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." Like, Minmay remembered me,
That's pretty
and I was
awesome.
like, "Thank you so much." And then I went up to her. I was like, "Hey, I bought this. Do you remember Love poster? I'd be honored if you can just sign in. Like, I have to be going in like a few minutes because I think we were just about ready to just load up a car and just drive back down to LA County, down to where we were all living." And then I
From
was
LA County to LA County.
like, you don't really think Lancaster as LA
Yeah.
County because it's
No,
just its own
as a Southern
vibe.
California person, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. It's Lancaster County or something. No, it's
No,
LA
it's
County
not.
apparently. All right.
But yeah, it was just like just so nice of her to like just remember who I was and just in the middle of her panel just be willing to sign something off. That's how close knit AniMagic was, and I had a very positive experience and just kind of like that was just my highlight of AniMagic. Also, who remembers Battle Royale? That movie from 21 years ago about the high school kids who just go on the island to kill each other.
Thank God it's been remade and turned into video games 7 trillion times. Otherwise, we would have forgotten about the source material.
Like for you kids watching, it's like Squid Game, but high school. I love Squid Game, by the
It's Hunger
way.
Games, but good.
Anyway, but if you haven't seen Battle Royale, it's streaming on TV. It's really intense.
Very violent, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's one of the most at the time it
if
was
you're
like the
not
most
into
violent movie I've seen when I was like
not into the over the
a
top
teen.
blood and gore, watch it with a friend or pause it if you need to breathe.
Mm-hmm. And then my sociopath ex like Battle Royale. That's kids stuff. That's not the most violent thing I've seen. Like, yeah, that should have been my red flag there too. Like GTFO, like Battle Royale. That's kids stuff.
It's a weird thing to say. Is there more violent stuff? Yeah, there is. I'm not going to go into, but I wouldn't call Battle Royale like a. Oh yeah, that's just a fun leisurely. It's a Sunday. I want to relax. Let's on Battle Royale. I want to watch a bunch of teens like brutally murder each other. That'll be fun. Like what? That
Yeah,
is
I've read the book. I've read the manga. Like, I don't
yeah.
know. I was super into
I had
Battle
a
Royale.
friend who literally their first experience with it was the manga, and they said like I had to stop after volume 1. I can't. That is
The manga
no.
is effing brutal.
Yeah, he was like, look, I can handle gore and violence in my manga, and I like gore and violence, but this no. Mm-mm. And then the
It
one
is
guy
effing
reveling
realistic.
in the what he did that except I don't spoil stuff, but there's something bad happens to somebody's face, and someone very much revels about it.
Yes.
And it was that broke him, and he was like, nah, I'm out. And like, no, because it has a lot of. He's like, I don't care about the metaphor. I don't care about no. And I'm like, well, okay, well, you got part of the point of what the creators were trying to get across about the violence was supposed to be one of the points they're trying to get across.
And I just like just remember just going through the manga, just whatever volumes I could stomach because because the manga takes a different direction from the movie, and I'm just like just reading. It's like yeah, this is pretty grotesque, and like I just kind of like you just have to like just put it down for a while because otherwise like you take a lot of sanity damage.
Yeah.
I know I took a lot of sanity damage when I saw the movie. The not the movie, the uncut version. I took quite a bit of sanity damage.
I don't think I've seen the uncut version.
It the uncut version, we actually did watch at AniMagic. There's this scene, not spoilers, but you get more of Mitsuko's backstory,
Okay.
and it's highly implied that she was molested by a stepfather.
Oh, lovely.
And there's a metaphorical scene. Nothing graphic is shown, but the metaphor that they used gave me a lot of sanity damage, like throughout the con.
Mm.
So yeah.
Well, again, it's what you don't see that's oftentimes more scary than
that
what you do.
does that. But anyway, getting back to Battle Royale. So, a few friends of mine, they wanted to do a Battle Royale meetup.
Battle Royale cosplay was on my list from the early days of my wanting to get into cosplay.
So we wanted to do a Battle Royale meetup at at AniMagic. We wanted to do it on the hotel property.
Cosplay.
Camp Cosplay. Let's bring out the airsoft. Camp Cosplay. Let's bring out the airsoft and let's do it, right? So, but I know we went through the rules earlier. So with that part in mind,
Those rules were all suggestions, by the way.
Yeah.
If you want to know why I was making jokes and laughing, all the rules were suggestions.
also between the time of 2000 and 2003 when this happened, there was also like you can't show like bloody stuff or like scars because there was like a a rumor that was going around about this one girl who was like cutting herself during the convention in public places. I think that was a
I
rumor.
That doesn't sound like real. That doesn't sound real to me.
Yeah, it's but this is during a time when like just like a lot of the emo stuff was becoming popular, and I think like there's a lot of rumors like despite like a lot of things out there because like yeah, the early 2000s cosplay like a lot of the he said she said was like, and especially when it was like just trends that were like just up and coming. It's yeah, it got pretty ugly, but because I remember going to AniMagic. I just happened to have like a bruise because I kind of like tripped over something, when and I was crossing his Toru short skirt. Like oh shoot, like how do I hide this bruise? Like no, just tell it. Just honestly, like you accidentally tripped over something because they were very particular about like bruises and anything that looked bloodied up because of one rumor that was floating around.
Yeah, like
So like
that's more of a insurance concern and things like that. I think, than rather than a oh, cosplayers who hurt themselves all the time. Stop that.
yeah, and but anywho, so Revels and his staff don't like the idea of the battle royale meetup being on the convention
I can
grounds.
see that. That's you're gonna have some bloodied up costumes. You're gonna have some guns. You're gonna have severed heads if you have that character. You have things that might not be appropriate. It might freak out the squares. I get that.
And my ex brought in like his entire airsoft collection because he had like a lot of the gun accurate like weapons that certain characters had. I was cosplaying as Keiko, and Keiko was one of the gals prior to the main battle royale thing who was like, "Yes, I taught this character how to smile." Keiko was like, I'm trying to remember what the line was. It's like yeah, I understood why she smiled when she died. Like I was that character, so I had to wear a different uniform from everyone else. So like, instead of having it at the main convention area, we had it at the neighboring hotel.
Oh god, I thought you were gonna go down to the McDonald's.
No, we did not.
Just freak people out at the McDonald's.
I mean, there was a 7-Eleven like down the street. I mean, it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse.
So we got like a few of us who had cameras. Like, okay, let's just go to the hotel like right next door and just kind of like just do our photo shoot there at the parking lot. So here's the photo over in the parking lot that we all did because like a lot of the because like I think the people who were organizing it they were trying to like see if they could compromise. Like, yeah, we're just using airsoft. This is in character as part of the costume to look bloodied up because like one of the staples of like a battle royale cosplay is like you gotta look bloodied up.
Yeah, stuff has happened probably to your character.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so we just had it at the neighboring hotel. All right, let's talk about the time when you had like I had labeled this slide as like one of your stories. I labeled it as that thing you spew. So you had like a throw up story.
Oh, okay.
Party at AniMagic. Let's talk about that.
So I'll separate this from the main party story because this is technically afterwards. After a party I was at, I was heading back to my hotel room and there was a room open. A guy who recognized me from the party, I'll just say his name, whatever, who cares? Justice. I don't know if that was his real name or his online name or whatever. Was there with two pretty cute girls. He was like, "Hey, dude, come over here." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "These ladies need to get back to their hotel. I told them that me and my friends would help them get back there." And I'm like, and I was looking at my room. My room is like 2 doors down. I'm like, I'm so like drunk right now. Am I going to get lost? Yeah. And I looked at the girls. I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, let's do this." And so we were walking. It was me. It was Justice. I think it was one other dude from that party, who I think was actually from their room, and then the two girls. And there's one, I don't remember what they were cosplayed from. I don't even know if it was actually a cosplay per se. All I remember is that they were like these black outfits, little revealing. One had like a pink wig, or orange, pinkish, like a bright, like way too pink for its own good wig. And the other girl had like a greenish colored wig. God, I'm going to dig down deep into memory to remember all this. They almost looked like if there was like a black variant of Kay and Yuri from Dirty Pair, but it wasn't the Kay and Yuri outfits. It just, they reminded me of that, and I have no idea what they were cosplayed from. I never even asked. Even if I did, I don't remember. I was walking back, and me and the girl were getting along really well, and flirting and what have you, and then just out of nowhere, she just stops walking, and I step to a couple ahead, because the moment you don't realize someone has stopped, and I turn around like, what's... It just vomits all over the ground, and nice. I'm like, and here's the thing. At the time, I wasn't fully aware it was OCD. But her doing that immediately, like all I wanted to do was run back to my hotel room and like take a shower. Like it grossed me out so much, and I felt. And she literally came back up to me. She's like, "I'm so sorry. I don't drink this much normally, and I'm really a good person, and I don't throw up." And she was apologizing so hard, and I felt so bad for her because like all I wanted to do was get away from her because my OCD was triggering. And I didn't realize that. Like now, I would know what is triggering. I go, okay, it's fine. You threw up before. Other people have thrown up before. It's a normal thing. Just get her back to her hotel room. Make sure she gets some water. But literally, we got back to the hotel room, and I couldn't like help her, and I felt really bad about it. Her friend literally sat on the bed in like a cheesecake kind of position, and not only the guys from that room, but the guy, Justice, were all around her, talking to her, and like talking her up. The other girl was like going to the bathroom, like she wasn't even helping her friend, and I was just sitting there in between both, like doing that scene, scenes like in a cartoon where the character looks at one side of what they're supposed to be doing, and then look to the other side of what they want to do, and they're like, and all my brain is like, just want to get the hell out of here. I was just like going to the door, that, and then I just eventually Justice like, come on, man, let's go, and I'm like, yeah, yes, 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 let's, yes, yeah, and just walked out. And I felt so bad because one, I couldn't help the girl. I really feel really bad that I just didn't help her afterwards. That's a dick move on my part. But I was just my OCD was so crazy I couldn't even like touch her. The thought of touching her made me feel sick. And I think I talked a little bit to the girl in the bed because everyone did, because she was just flaunting. And I was like, God, I totally went to the girl who was showing off rather than the girl I actually liked. And then Justice and I leave, and he literally was like, man, you were doing good with that girl until you screwed it up. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she threw up, and it freaked me out. And I just, it's like, man, you know what she should have said to her? And what? And now, I don't know if I can say this on the thing, but just every time you meet a girl you like, you need to tell them you have a very large... And I was like, yeah, I'm sure that'll totally work. I'll try that next time. I was like, you should, man. It'll totally work. Trust me. It's what I do all the time. And I'm like, uh-huh. Let's just get back to the hotel room so I can just die. And then we got back to the hotel, and then he went to his room, and I walked the couple doors down to my room, and when I got back, I was like, I just collapsed on the bed. I don't even think I changed out of my clothes. I think it was like 4 a.m. or something like that. I was still mostly drunk. It was, yeah, that was a rough thing. And I always felt bad for that girl. I don't remember her name. I don't know what she was cosplaying as. And it's just one of those, like, this happened, and I feel like a jerk about it. And I've talked about the story multiple times at cons and said, like, if she was here, I will apologize to her. To which had the best response at a con when I told the story, which is, I like the fact that you just embarrassed her with a horrible, horrible thing she went through. And then you're saying it as a way if you want to apologize. It's like, okay, yes. When you say it like that, I still sound like the jerk. But I do feel bad. I genuinely feel bad about what happened. I feel bad that I wasn't, like, the good guy that I should have been. And yes, I'm sure it's embarrassing any con she goes to, or if she's watching this, and she hears a story, go, oh, God, don't tell that story. Why do you do that all the time? But I have yet to receive a message from her saying I can't tell this story. Therefore, story.
Oh, yes. Asian mom story.
What?
Not my mom.
I have this image of you and your mom at cons, and it is the most hilarious thing as people are running away because she is yelling at them for getting too close to you. Or smelling too bad.
This doesn't have to do with my mom, though.
Okay.
I have an Asian mom story, specifically Vietnamese mom. So, AniMagic 2003. So, my ex and I were just about ready to just drive from Northern California. So he picks me up in Santa Rosa, and then loops back down to San Jose. And like, yeah, I gotta take care of a few things at the house. So mind you, just some context, we might be in our early 20s. I don't think he even hit 20 at that point. I think I was still 19-ish. Yeah, probably around that range. And had to like stop by the house in San Jose to like just get a couple of things. Like I just was under the impression like, yeah, like okay, if we did a loop around, probably have to just do a pit stop since we're still kind of like in the home base kind of area. He didn't inform his mother that we were going to AniMagic. Now, like granted, like when you're in your early 20s, kind of like when you turn 18, like okay, who cares?
Yeah.
Asian parents do.
Ah.
Asian parents just kind of really care, like if you're gonna take a really long drive or like even just go down the street. But like, yeah, Asian parents, they want to know where you are at all times. He decides to tell her as we were just literally heading out the door. And I had to listen to this whole like Asian mom rant in the background. It's like why are you so obsessed with your hobbies and blah 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 blah. And I'm just sitting here just like secondhand embarrassed. I'm like, wait, you didn't tell your mother in advance. You're doing the whole like forgiveness later
Yeah,
kind of
the
strategy.
phrase is it's easier to ask forgiveness than to ask permission.
Mm-hmm. Because like yeah, like from one perspective, like okay, yeah, like you're over 18, you're going on a road trip. Who cares? But also, but when you factor the Asian mom in it, and you're in your early 20s, and because my ex, like he did like a lot of road trips, going back and forth because he used to go to school at UC Santa Barbara, and go back and forth between San Jose a lot.
It's not a fun drive.
Yeah, it's not a fun drive at all. But yeah, like just kind of like being in that awkward situation was really awkward. Also, my Toru cosplay from that same year of AniMagic. I made a pretty cute Toru.
Okay. See, in my head, I was imagining some Asian mom there who was very upset with, "Your cosplay shows too much skin," and just yelling at random people at the con
No.
as they protect their like 12-year-old.
Yeah. So just kind of like this being this awkward Asian mom situation. Like I too, surprising enough, have an Asian mom. I always just tell her in
What?
advance that like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to Chicago. Here's who I'm staying with. Here's who I'm traveling with. But that's just more of a courtesy, just to kind of let them know, just in case of emergency if something happens. Because I told the story in one of our travel stories before that we did have car trouble. AniMagic 2002, leaving Lancaster, and I was pretty close on using freaking flyer miles to fly back up to Northern California. But because our ride was going directly to wine country, because that's where I was going to school at the time,
Oh God, that
it
is
would
not a
have been
fun
better
drive either.
to it would have been better to just stay with them.
I guess.
Kase Under the Stars, like I miss this show. What I liked about One of the things I liked about Masquerade at Animagic was like it was outdoors, it was in the poolside,
Yeah.
everyone was there, and it was just a lot of fun. Like there were two like cosplay variety shows. One was your standard cosplay contest, which was Saturday, and then you had the cosplay talent show, which was both events were organized by my friends Tristan Citrine, and they were hosted by my buddy Ray Ray, and those were just a lot of fun because like everyone was there. It's just kind of like this huge community gathering, and I was really into the talent show portion. I did this J-pop song called Cha Cha. I Want to Dance. You like Cha Cha Cha? Like you can find it. It's one of my favorites. But I want to talk about the time when my ex decided to manipulate the organizers to convince them he was in a talent show act. And
What?
to this day, to this day, like I kind of need to reintegrate and re-get into City Hunter. I know there's you and our buddy Evan who want to get me into City Hunter. Like, oh yeah, it's 80s vibes. It's like yeah, it's
Well,
like
it's because we're
anime
so familiar.
80s, yeah, and
It,
just the aesthetic of it. But anyway, just because like
yeah.
I think prior to this, like my only positive memory of City Hunter was Jackie Chan's Drag Race. Start Your Engines.
Yeah. It's a fun one.
It's a fun movie. It's on Amazon. It's a lot of fun. But so this was Animagic in Valencia, and they had like this beautiful like a garden wedding kind of a setup for a masquerade and for the talent show. And I was gonna. There's an English song in the City Hunter anime. It sounds very. It's very Euro trash. It's very it has like that Euro disco kind of feel to it, and I love cheesy Euro disco. And then I got like this 80s outfit that similar to what one of the characters wear, like one of the lady detectives. And I forgot what their name was because there's actually several.
Yeah.
And I decided to like just go up like yeah, let me do this. And my ex at the time was casting it as Rio Saiba, and he could talk about like Mokuri or whatever. I don't know if that's a thing, but anyway, um, so and also the perception of like the two of us was like, oh yeah, you're like the best cosplay couple ever. Like you are a couple goals. Like no, you do not want to label us as a couple goals. So when I got so to my memory, because I block this a lot, but I think it's a good story to tell. Because like, hey, here's our red flags when you have a toxic ex in your life, and if any of you friends see this happen. Take this as a cautionary tale. And so I I'm in the line for masquerading. I thought my ex was just kind of like just hanging out with me, just like moral support, because I think we're just like in the lineup for the cosplay show. And then before my music cue shows up, he just starts like doing like this weird intro act with me. Like, wait, what are you doing on stage? And I was just caught off guard. And then like I didn't know, I didn't ask you to like be a part of this. And then like when the song starts, I just started in my voice, because he just shows up on stage randomly just to kind of like kick off my skits. I don't know what he told the organizers to like mess up my music, to like have new music cues. Music goes on. My voice, I can't even hear myself. Like, and I rehearse this. Like my nerves, I'm singing through my nerves right now. I thought that was the last time I saw him on stage. He goes up and joins me for the second verse.
Oh God!
And he has like he has to print out the lyrics right in front of him. I'm like, that just ruined my entire con.
This is cringe on a lot of levels.
It is cringe, and the fact that he was able to convince the judges, because again, he was a sociopath, and he was able to sweet talk his way like he was a part of the act. I don't remember even ever having this conversation, because like this is supposed to be solo, because I would take any chance to like just be on stage, because at the time like I really enjoyed performing. I wanted to be on stage, and this cosplay talent show was a great opportunity for people who didn't make their own costumes to like just showcase talent. Like let me sing in something in character. And this is why I have a photo of Rick James here, a Rick James cosplayer from that same year, because I would have had a lot more fun with Rick James.
I assume he used the Chappelle Show catchphrase then, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Yeah, I would have had a lot more fun with this Rick James cosplayer over here, because I had a friend running around as a Rick James at the con, because like, yeah, I don't tell this story a lot because I wanted to block it from memory, but I feel I need to tell this story now. Now it's like, hi, masquerade organizers. Like, if someone like, if the original skit person is not there with you, and I don't care if they're a well-known cosplay couple like we were at the time, like, you do not let their partner make changes to skits on behalf of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care if he's talking that, because like that was just, that just caught me off guard, and that just ruined the entire convention for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I got two minor things connected to this. One, I remember on day 3, dude I'd been talking to and hanging with, like, showed up. He was like, hey, bro, check out my costume. And I was like, again, like I said, everyone was hungover on day 3. And I'm looking at his, like, whitish suit, and I'm like, hey, cool suit, bro. And he's just like, dude, remember I was telling you I'd cosplay as Rio? And I'm like, hey. Oh, dude, yeah, sorry, I'm hungover. Yeah, dude, no, you look awesome. My brain was sitting there going like, right, he's doing City Hunter cosplay, and you're just so out of it. You like, I don't even. It's cool. Good on you.
Yeah. So this story is like why I tend to block out City Hunter from my brain.
It's weird that City Hunter had some sort of weird popularity gain in like the mid 2000s, because I don't know, like, it wasn't like a new movie or a new anime that came out. It's just
I think it was just being re-licensed, because I remember my ex picking up a lot of the I forgot who licensed City Hunter.
ADV had a few of the movies and OVAs. No one, as far as I know, had the TV series.
And plus, Jackie Chan's Chung-Li Drag Race was also becoming viral too.
Yeah, it went viral. Yes, I used that in a presentation in my in one of my communications classes. But it's one of those weird things for that. The other one was, I remember at the party I was at, people left to kind of, heckle the masquerade a little bit, especially when people are coming on with like camel dancing and stuff like that, that garbage from that time period. And there's one person they were giving a lot of crap to, and I was like, why are you guys being such dicks to this guy? And the guy like comes up and is like, you guys have something to say? You have something to say? Like, yeah, dude, why aren't you at our party? And he's just like, hell yeah. And they like high five, like, oh, he's your friend. He's on stage for some skit, and then immediately finished the skit. Got like, you did that whole like, how guys will do sometimes. It's like, oh, I'm gonna hit you, man. I'm gonna hit you. And then it was just like, oh, they're screwing with each other, and then he joined us at the party.
Okay, so AniMagic 2005 was like the last year I attended, and by the time it was like 2006, like I had midterms, I was in university, and I wanted to focus on graduating, and also I didn't attend in 2007 because I think that was the year they had I don't know if that was like the last year was in Lancaster
It
or it was a
was
drunken
because
bar
of the.
dance.
It was last year in Lancaster because of the party I attended.
Okay.
So yes, when I get around to telling that story, I will tell all the absurdity and horror that is that story, and
And
how you get a convention kicked out of a hotel.
cautionary tale, people. I'll keep this
Yeah,
one
it's not
brief.
not meant to be explanation of how to. It's not a how to. It's a warning.
Like cautionary tales, people. All right, so there was actually a spite event against AniMagic, and I
Oh,
don't know the whole
nice.
story
I
behind
remember hearing about
this.
this.
I just know it was run by a guy who's a limousine driver. Hence, I have the placeholder of Superstar Limo on here. Everything comes back to Disney, so
All right.
limo driver is like one of the co-organizers of Anime Con Carnade. And basically, I remember hearing that, like on closing ceremonies in 2006, I remember allegedly Ravel said something like, "Yeah, like who cares about the 300 people having their picnic?" And this was held in Southern California, and a lot of it was like a lot of the quote unquote veteran attendees of AniMagic, and I didn't really understand what the beef was. Well, beef, con carne, barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
and basically they just kind of like just had like their own like cosplay gathering at some park, and it did draw in people by the hundreds. And I don't know if they were like fully aware. I think this was just word of mouth because I would have heard of something on cosplay.com if there was a Southern California cosplay meetup. Again, I was living in Northern California at the
Yeah,
time,
I remember
so
hearing about this too. Was the weird thing.
I really wouldn't have known or wouldn't have made my way down there because I was just so hyper focused with graduating from university. And just hearing about this, like, oh, there was a spite event against AniMagic, and I really didn't know like what the full story is, and I honestly still don't know the full story to this day. Like, I know there were issues. People had issues with Ravel, but I didn't know like just how deep those issues were. And the only issue I had with Ravel Walker was I just maybe he's changed. I don't know because this was my experience in 2006. And Ravel, if you've changed between back then and now, kudos to you. I always got a sexist vibe from him because he would always credit my ex with our convention reports and our convention music videos, and he would never give me any credit for like any of the work that I do for. At the time, it was known as Traveling Valentine before Scarlet Rhapsody, and I was like the person who was paying for the domain, the person who was doing all the web design, doing all the copywriting, doing all the photos, and then he would always acknowledge my ex before me, and not acknowledge me at all in my credit and like doing all these press and con reports promoting AniMagic, and I always felt that there was always a hint of sexism behind that. But Ravel, if you're listening right now, and if you made any changes, like kudos to you because like yeah, back then it just seemed like a lot of men were taking credit for what women were doing, and I'm glad that there's a lot of people speaking up against that, and I feel a lot safer speaking up against that now, but compared to then, but like yeah, like if anyone has like redeemed themselves, like in the past like 20 years or so, like kudos to you. But Emmy Con Carne, like I don't know, I'm just always kind of felt like I wasn't really part of that in crowd. Like I would just go to AniMagic, just like I'm just here to have fun, just here to like just hang out with friends. I'm here to cosplay, but yeah, there was an actual spite event, an actual hate event that actually drew numbers that did take away from AniMagic, and like whoa.
And it lasted for a couple of years too, because
No, I think it was just only that
I
one
thought it was
time.
like 2 or 3 years of that, but maybe I'm
I
wrong.
don't know. I just only remember the one that
Again,
happened because
again, in terms
it
of
did
trying
take
to
out
find the
numbers.
information on this would be hard to
It
do,
was
just
very word
because.
of mouth because again, you
Yeah,
kind of had to know people who were going. You had to be part of like this in crowd, which I wasn't really part of because like I'm focused. I'm just very hyper focused with studying, like Ami from Sailor Moon, and I didn't really start making my own costumes and being hardcore into cosplaying until like the very next year.
because I remember talking with someone at the little buffet thing. So you're staying at the hotel, you did a little buffet. It was such a pretty decent buffet, actually. It was a really nice hotel. I want to really
Yes, I
emphasize that.
remember the breakfast buffet. I really liked
And what
breakfast
would end up
buffet.
happening is I just take a random table because I usually get there a little earlier, and then I'd have like 2 or 3 other cosplayers just like sit down with me, including chick from the ring. I don't know who she was. Just some gal was walking around as chick from the ring. Um, some big dude, like all the people, like, again, the city hunter guy, stuff like that. We're all just like sitting at the table with me because it was just they only have so many seats, and we're not going to be like weirdo high schoolers. Like I'm not sitting with that guy. So it was just like, dude, can I sit here? I'm like, yeah, knock yourself out. I don't care.
Yeah,
And
I also did
I
appreciate
remember
that vibe
getting into a
too.
conversation about Anime Con Carney, but this was in '07, and it would have been the year before, according to your accounts. So I guess people either went to that and then came back, or it was also happening that year as well. But I remember people talking about going like, "What the heck's that?" It's like, "Oh, it's this thing that's happening at the same time here. It's like a one day or at a park." And I'm like, "Oh, I'd rather be here. I mean, I'm eating bacon." You know, it's just like, yeah. Look, I'm gonna point out people if I have the option of eating bacon or going to your event, I will eat the bacon.
All right, let's talk about partying gone wrong. So in this photo here is like one of the staples of AniMagic was like the window decorating contest. So like you can like decorate your window to like just reflect your fandom. Like here, my buddy Albert has like his entire Eurobeat collection CDs here decorating his wall. So party time gone wrong.
Okay, so this was the party that ended because it moved to one other location, had one more year, and then like I think the con officially died. Like no one went to that location. Well, I had a friend who did, and then came back saying like, "Yeah, dude, you're lucky you didn't go." And I'm like, "That's some rough luck." So here's the party that killed the con. Um, so initially, I got brought in. It was in one person's room. It was no big deal. There was a handful of people there. There was a couple cosplayers in there getting a little drunk and rowdy, and Justice was there handing out Jaeger shots to people because we're all college age. You have to have Jaeger shots. Just drinking, having a good time. In fact, what I found to be the bigger issue was I couldn't get to the bar too easy. So I always had to, like, when someone else was going to go, I'm like, dude, can you grab me one too? Like, and that became my new strategy. I've used that at room parties from that point onward. I always do the "Can you get me one too?" Because I'm like, I'm not going to weave my way through people. I'm OCD. But keep the booze coming towards me. That would be very, very much appreciated. Um, and everything seemed like a normal room party. The people next door had their own party too, so then we just party sort of kind of combined. It wasn't like a suite where you could just hook the doors open, but we just walk out into the front area and go back and forth between the two rooms. No big deal. Um, in that point, I met a Japanese exchange student guy, and I was like had learned a little bit of Japanese because I was trying to just out of a book, and he made fun of me for being way too formal, which was great. And I prevented another guy from making an ass out of himself with hitting on girls who were clearly not interested. And I just kind of moved him away and said, "Dude, you already got their number. Let's go over to this room and get you something to get you like a soda or something. You need to like tamp down the booze to blood ratio in your body." And then the thing that happened that caused us all to scatter is someone I was drunk and screwing around and then broke one of the windows. And these had like windows that were like facing out towards the pool. So it would happen inside one of the rooms. I was outside at the time, the room, and I just hear the window just smashes, and everyone just looks, and everyone's like, "Oh, oh!" Like it's almost like someone hit the alarm button, and people freaking scattered. And I remember just moving far enough away where I'm like, doesn't look like I'm part of the party, but I'm still like, what's going to happen here? Did someone get hurt? It was like, what's going on? And I don't think anyone got severely hurt out of this. I think they actually smashed an item through the window, not so much like smashed themselves through the window. And this is where the thing kind of diverges. When people thought everyone had left, I guess the couple that ran one of the two room parties decided to kind of, do what couples do sometimes at night. And people watched. I did not watch that. I had heard about that. Like, I saw people gathering, like, what's going on? It's like, dude, they're going to go have sex. And I'm like, this is getting a little too weird for me. I'm not going to watch two random cosplayers screw. That's cool. I'm going back to my room now. And then that would lead into me getting back into my section of the hotel that I was in, which was the part that doesn't have windows facing the pool. It's just like a more of like, what would it be like the 2 or 3 stories or whatever it was building. And that's when I ran into past Justice's room and the girls, and then that led into that part of the thing. But yeah, so we had public sex, we had a smashing of a window, and we had a rowdy freaking party, which of course led to also drunk people in clothes just jumping into the pool, because why not?
Sacrifice to the pool gods.
So yeah, it was just the rowdy. It began really simple and fun, and we're all having a good time, and then everything just went completely out of hand as soon as like 2 parties fused into one way too large and way too drunk college kid party.
And this is 2007?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a year I was this close to attending, but My
Oh,
ex was being a jerk.
oh, you could have gone to the party and had fun.
I went to Universal Studios and saw the Transformers movie on IMAX.
Yeah, it's almost the same as seeing a window smashed in public sex.
Yeah,
It's almost the same.
almost the same.
Dude makes out with his girlfriend on top of his robot friend. That's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
That's not cool. If I was a robot, I'd be like, hey, I'm not used for that. Stop it.
So speaking of masquerade, AniMagic 2000 was baby's first masquerade.
Aw.
So I was actually roped in by my friends to be part of this Gary Oak cheerleader skit. So if you watch Pokemon, Gary is like Ash's rival in the start of the series, and he always has like these cheerleaders
Yeah,
following him around.
in season 1, he has his little cheer squad. He also gets 10 badges somehow.
And I ended up being like one of the cheerleaders. It was nice because the mom of our room chaperone decided to also put my hair in like that top knot like ponytail kind of thing. It's like, oh yeah, I always wanted to like, because I don't know, I didn't really like pigtails, but I like the top knot ponytail. So there's me like on the far right hand side, just because like yeah, I tried to like yeah, just act like a cheerleader, act happy, which I was like totally opposite from cheerleader in high school. I was like emo drama choir anime nerd person.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That wore cat ears and had a cat tail with their school uniform. It was cute. I don't care. You might call it cringe, but Catholic school uniform plus cat ears and a tail and glasses, that's pretty cute to me.
I'm gonna get a new fetish, thanks.
Awesome. And it's like Cheshire kind of from Azur Lane. And anywho, so basically what it was like, we had to do like this cheerleader routine to Tony Basil's Mickey song, like, oh Mickey, you're so fine, but it's Gary instead.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's easy enough to get the karaoke version and make that work.
Yeah, and then like, you know, you go on stage, you like just do your routine, you have a lot of fun with it, and then I found out that we got an award.
Oh, nice.
But this was like the kind of a masquerade where they were just making up awards as they go. Like I forgot who was on stage, but they gave like this blonde guy the Slim Shady Award. We got the Pimp Daddy Award.
Oh, because Gary had all the ladies. Nice.
So like I thought it was just kind of cool. They were just making up awards as they go.
I would love to do that for a small masquerade where it's just like, okay, that person's like wig is so crazy, we need to give him like the wildest wig award or something.
The Wild Wig Award.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just the thing I liked about like my first year competition. Like I know like I'm not a huge fan, like everyone's the winner participation trophy, but you know what? I had a lot of fun. I was very honored for my friends to like ask like someone who's new to all this to just be a part of their masquerade cheer squad. And I thought it was just a lot of fun, and I really wanted to do that again. And prior to 2001, I was supposed to be in their Digimon skits, and they would like take care of like all the costume stuff for me. I never watched a single episode of Digimon because I always thought it was like knockoff Pokemon. Same with Monster Rancher. That's my mentality when I was in high school.
I get it. I had a whole conversation recently about how I was Super Robot is lame and only real robots. So like I get that. Like I had that when I was younger too. I would have who they would have dressed you up as.
I would have crossplayed. I don't know what the dude's name is, but luckily they found someone to like fill in for me because I just told him in advance, like, hey, I have all this stuff coming in. I just want to get my college applications out of the way, and I just want to be a responsible high school student.
Glasses. Maybe I've been a dude.
No, I would have been a dude.
Right, I know. There's a dude who wears glasses. There's Joe.
If you show me the character designs of season 1, I can point out who it was.
All right.
Flaming Jacket. Yeah, it just had like
that's season 2. That's Davis's. Davis has the jacket for fire.
Yeah, it was a dude with a flaming jacket,
puffed out collar.
Mm-hmm. Kind of, sort of,
and like poof hair.
Yes,
that's Davis.
They would take care of all that stuff for me. It's like, yeah, we'll take care of you.
That's a weird choice to put you in there. There's a glasses girl in season 2.
I think they just kind of just mean like, hey, we need someone else. Hey, Scarlett, you want in? Sure.
You're short. Be Davis.
Also, the same group I was hanging out with, they had like they were cosplaying from Final Fantasy VII as like the Shinra squad, and I was like Utena, so I was like Utena falling around the Shinra squad.
That's pretty cool.
And like people were making commentaries like, yeah, it's Utena and her friends from Shinra.
It's a corporate takeover of the academy.
We're taking this over. Hi, looks like I have to duel y'all now.
Only one of us has a sword, so good luck, saying.
Uh, did you want to talk about the intervention, or does that tie in with the party story that you
The
mentioned? Said
intervention?
you said you have like an intervention party story.
Oh, that was the part where I talked about the guy who was getting a little too drunk and hitting on some girls that were clearly uncomfortable.
All right.
And I started calling this is the beginning of what I refer to as my big brother phase. I blame my little brother for this, where I would go to parties and I'd find the one dude who was like a little, or the girl who was feeling really uncomfortable, and I would just go in there and be like the bodyguard type person to try to separate stuff up. So if I saw a gal who seemed a little too uncomfortable, I'd be like, "Hey, how about you come over here? We're talking about such and such. You've seen such and such, right?" Try to do that and try to get that girl out from like because there's always the one girl at a party who will have like the four dudes hovering around her, and I don't think any girl likes that. So I would be the guy who'd be like, "Yeah, me and my friends right now are talking about Gundam Wing. You've seen that, right? You've watched Toonami." And then the girl would be like, yeah, my favorite character is Duo." And like, "Yeah, cool. We're all talking about our favorite characters." And just get her away from people. I would do that, and I would do the drunk guy is like hitting on the wrong person or is getting like a little too sick, and I'd be like, hey, bro, yeah, dude, yeah, dude, you should totally finish that later. How about you sit down right here? And you know what? Maybe you should go to the restroom for a bit. You look like you could use a little. I was like that person, and this is the first start of that. Was and me and that dude became friends. I had to give him my number, but we became friends and went to a lot of room parties together. But that one, he was a little too drunk, and these just two girls who were talking. He's like, "Hey, ladies, yeah," and I'm like, "Oh, dude, yeah, dude, you already got their number, man. You're talking to the same people over again." And he's like, "I did." I'm like, "Yeah, you totally did, man. Did I get yours?" I'm like, "No, you don't got mine yet. Like, let's go over here, dude, and I'll give you my number." And just like saved those girls, and after he was done, I'm like, I'm sorry that guy was bothering you. He's a nice guy normally, even though I'd never met him before. I'm like, he's a nice guy, I'm just a little too drunk. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. We could handle ourselves, but thanks." I was like, "Yeah," because like this is the beginning of when I started becoming big brother at cons, and it was a weird room party like thing I had for a while where it limited the amount of ladies I could flirt with because I was too busy protecting people from themselves or others.
All right, and our final one is sacrificing to the pool
Oh
gods.
god, we both have stories about this. I
Yeah.
mean, neither of us have been dumped in the pool, which is nice. I
Yep.
don't think either of us have
Nope.
been.
I
Yeah,
didn't walk into that pool. I know I had a friend who accidentally fell in the pool. I forgot what she was cosplaying as,
I can
but
see that depending on what you're wearing or slipping on something or.
because the main hub for everyone to hang out was like that pool
Yep.
side, and then like I know like one of my friends accidentally fell in the pool. Like bless her heart. And then
Yeah, if it happens on accident, then it's like kind of sad. But okay, continue your story.
but then I also had but also like during Masquerade, there was a really cool Psycho Mantis skit, and there was a plant in the audience that he was like looking that he was trying to mind control, and they were like,
Oh, that is a brilliant way of doing that.
and then he was able to convince the plant in the audience to go jump in the pool. And then my buddy Ray Ray, he was hosting Masquerade, and everyone was like just daring him to jump in the pool, and then he jumped in the pool, and then there was like a lot of Riku cosplayer. There was a Riku cosplayer who just decided to just hang out in the pool and just started playing blitzball in the pool.
Nice.
So there was like a lot of pool action and going on, for better or for worse. And then I don't know the context of the story, but I guess there's a Japanese garden part of the Antelope Valley Inn.
So somewhere,
And
yeah.
there's like a little pond part, but like I have a photo here of a Queen Beryl cosplayer waiting in the pond in the Japanese garden. And here you can have like this, some cosplayers just randomly just jumping into the pool.
It was almost like a weird tradition thing for cosplayers to jump in the pool.
And this is one of those cons like with like a lot of traditions behind it. So like we always would just like joke about like sacrificing to the pool gods. And like yeah, this is just like just the major hub of AniMagic. You would have like the swap meet. Well, I remember when the swap meet was held in this area before they moved it over to the parking lot. But this was yeah, this was just a lot of fun.
So again, I have the two minor ones. Again, like I said, the room party where people after a certain point got really drunk and then just decided to full sprint run and then cannonball into the pool in their clothes and or cosplays. Which I'm like looking at them going like, "Have fun, guys. That's cool. I'll stand over here. I don't want to ruin my."
Coolsies.
I'm wearing a leather jacket. I'm not jumping into no pool. And if I took the leather jacket off and jumped in with like my button-up shirt or whatever, I'd still ruin my button-up shirt, and someone would mess with my leather jacket because I know the people there. It was a college party. You don't just leave your stuff lying around. Someone will mess with it. But the other one that I heard, and I walked past it without realizing what it was, and I was told afterwards, so it may have been exaggerated. But on the first night, there were people who went in the pool, of course, and I heard some ladies giggling and what have you and messing around. And I like looked over. I'm like, oh, there's some cute girls in the pool. And I didn't really think much of it. And I went back to my room because it was like midnight or something. I was at the gaming room for a long time until it closed. And because it was day one, and I just wanted to unwind. I didn't parties. None of that was even close onto my radar. Someone the next day told me, he's like, dude, did you hear about the ladies in the pool? I'm like, yeah, I walked past them. They seem pretty cute. He's like, you only walked past them? And I'm like, yeah, why? What's up? They stripped in the pool, man. I'm like, what? That can't be true. There's no way someone would, because I didn't know how crazy the pool like is at AniMagic. So from my mind, I'm like, sure they did. No, they went out of their cosplay and were had a swimsuit underwear or something like that they were jumping into the pool, and they clearly weren't stripping, skinny dipping. But that's what I was told. I was told there was some skinny dipping going on, and I walked past it.
Unless they were talking about the hot tub, because
could have been that.
A lot of what I've heard about the hot tub is not safe for work, and it's like spicy content, but I will leave it at that.
So I'm sure they probably were in the hot tub. But it was in that category where I literally looked up, like, oh, they look pretty cute. And I didn't, like, my brain wasn't in a whole, oh, whoa, there's naked ladies in the hot tub. I'm going to stop by and say hi. Like, I wasn't in that mindset. I was just like, I'm tired. I've had a long day. I just want to go back to my room. There's some cute ladies there. And like, it was like that. And my friend was like, friend.
Like, sex is cool, but have you heard of taking a nap?
Yeah. When I say friend, by the way, no one at that con was my friend yet. These were all people who became friends at the con either that day or the next day. And so it was dude I had met and spent some time with who then the next day told me, you missed out, man. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm sorry. It was like midnight. I was tired. I wasn't thinking that. I've had a long week. I had 3 midterms followed by, having to take a long drive over here. And I was just like, sexy ladies is great and all, but sometimes you just want to lay down.
All right, just final thoughts on AniMagic. What are your closing thoughts on
So
AniMagic?
I have a weird feeling with it, because one, the con felt very, like, anarchy. I mean, things were there. There was panels that happened when the panels were supposed to happen, and a video room that was probably showing stuff, and, cosplay gatherings, I'm sure, and a dealer hall that was well run. One of the best game rooms. I'm kind of shocked at how good that game room was. And the Pirates Party, which was just kind of a thing we had at SoCal Anime Cons for a while for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I met some cool people. Food was good at the buffet. I didn't throw up from drinking a lot. I'm still, to this day, shocked on that one. I almost drowned in the tub. So it turns out, like, when you wake up and you're hungover, one of the things I would do is either take a shower or, like, lay in the tub if I felt like my legs were too wobbly. And I took a bath. And then I woke up with water coming up my nose. And I was like, oh, God, I almost fell asleep in the bath because I'm, like, hungover and tired. And I was like, okay, let's empty this out now. Let's just lay down on the bed again. We can do that. And I had no idea what time it was. I think it was just one of those, like, I got up and then decided, oh, it's probably morning. It probably wasn't morning. But, I liked that and I missed that. And I want to do a con like that. I want to be at the 500 of my closest friends, playing video games, watching anime, having debaucheries. I really want that again. And I feel like if I go, I'm going to be like the old guy, and everyone's like, aren't you a little old to be underage drinking? I wasn't underage at the time when I drank, by the way. I was full-on a master's degree student. I was a grad student. But now I feel like I'm like dad or professor showing up, and everyone's just looking at me going like, oh, who invited dad to the room party? So I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm too old to college party, and yet I totally want a college party. I want to basically have my own version of the movie Old School, but like AnimeCon. And it's really weird that it's that duality where I realize, like, it won't be the same, but yet I still kind of crave that fun and craziness and over-the-topness. And I don't think it can happen again. I don't think it's possible to do an event like this again.
Yeah, AniMagic was just perfect timing, because it was just all these cosplayers who just kind of want more time for cosplaying, more time to hang out with their friends, because Anime Expo, the other convention in Southern California.
Yeah, there really wasn't a lot of anime cons at the time.
Yeah, you kind of had, like, it was either Anime Expo. If you had time and money, you could travel up to Fanime. And if you also had like extra time money, you could do San Diego Comic Con. But even then, like anime presence was very limited. And you had AniMagic, which was like the small con. It was had earned its reputation as camp cosplay, and I think you have a pretty apt description. 500 of your closest friends, and you're here to party, and you're here to like just have a great time. And like partying, at least from my experience, like compared to yours, it was relatively safe. Like I would just go to the dance and just have a good
Well,
time.
everything was good until it got out of hand.
Yeah, because I think like around like the mid 2000s, that's when parties just really just started to just go crazy.
And again, if it wasn't for one jerk breaking a window, the live show would have been a live show. I think that would have happened regardless. But it probably happened multiple times at that con from stories I've heard. I think that's one of the traditions. But if the window hadn't gotten smashed, I'm sure they would have been there. I would have been there the next year to have a great time and to unwind. But unfortunately, like you break one window, I feel like the hotel staff can handle, oh, whatever, some jerk jumped in the pool in their cosplay, whatever,
Because we had the hotel to ourselves,
Yeah, it was,
which was really nice. Because again, who the hell goes to
Yeah.
Valencia to? Who the hell goes to Lancaster to like just stay for the night?
Yeah, that's not a vacation place. You don't vacation in Lancaster.
This is not the Marriott.
You end up at Lancaster because you're on your road trip to somewhere else, and you just need to pit stop there because it was cheap. And then you're going to continue your way to Yosemite or something. But you're not going to Lancaster. Go, oh, I need to see the sights of Lancaster. Yeah, I think they have like the world's biggest ball of Lent. It's great. They probably don't. I'm sure they have some sort of tourist trappy thing in Lancaster. I have no idea what it is. But as far as I know, it's a motor lodge that just happened to be a really nice motor lodge.
And it's also a huge meth capital of California because I've heard
Probably
stories.
make the con a little more difficult to deal with now.
Yeah, I've heard stories of people
burns.
like going to the 7-Eleven or to the Mickey D's, just walking in at night, just seeing like meth dealers and drug addicts on the street.
Oh,
I didn't
I'm
see
sure.
any of that because I was just decided like I'll be safe. I'll just confine myself to the 7-Eleven and to the Best Western. But like these are just accounts that I've heard from like just other people.
Yeah, I didn't go to either location. I literally packed food because that's what I used to do with cons. It's kind of what I still do with local cons if I can, where I would just set up my own little picnic basket in my hotel room. And I was like, well, I'm gonna have a huge breakfast. I'll have just like a sandwich or a granola bar for lunch, and then I'll just have whatever I had for dinner, which was usually some burritos or something like that. So yeah, my plan was I'm not going to go out of the because my thing is this: I have a terrible sense of direction, people, and I might be told, okay, yeah, you head out this way, make a left, you'll make it to 7-Eleven in 2 blocks. I'm not going to find that 7-Eleven. I'm going to end up like in like a meth house and being taught how to make it, and I'm gonna be like, no, I'm actually just want to stop at the 7-Eleven. No, man, you gotta help me. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I will. Like that's what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna actually find that 7-Eleven. So I was just like, that is always my rule. Just always have my. I say picnic basket. It's not. It's one of those like igloo coolers. But I always had like one of those just filled with like whatever my family leftovers we had, or if I made a few things because I cook. I'm really good at it. And I would then just have that available. Ideally, my hotel room has a microwave. Most don't. But I had food that if you ate it cold, it would still be goodish. You can eat a room temp burrito, and it's still very enjoyable. I'm just saying.
But yeah, overall, like AniMagic was just really, it was just a really different kind of convention, and I don't know if you could replicate that today.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really hard to say because again, this is like the age before cell phones, so like.
Well, the beginning part was.
Yeah, I mean, because like we had to be on walkie-talkies, like fighting each other.
That's awesome.
I mean, this is just how old it's like. Yeah,
I wish
back in
my
my
friends
day, we
thought
had
of that. That would've been really
walkie-talkies
helpful.
to like try to like figure out where each other is and blah blah blah.
That would have been a really helpful tool for Expo, actually. Where are you? Video room. That doesn't narrow it down, Jesse. 3, I think. They're showing. They're showing. I think it's something from like the early 2000s that would be showing at a video room. They're showing Sorcerer Hunters. All right, 3 Sorcerer. Okay. Like that would have been great. That would have been really helpful. And me and my friends never thought of the use of walkie-talkies. Plus, inevitably, someone would have just reenacted the scene from Back to the Future 2.
Yeah, I think like had I had a better personal life, I probably would have enjoyed AniMagic a lot more because sometimes, like again, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of times, sometimes your convention can be ruined by the people you're surrounded with.
Oh, for sure.
and I had a couple of Animagics that fell in that category,
Mm.
and unfortunately, it just kind of is what it is. But had I just have been in a better relationship situation, um, I probably would have enjoyed and appreciated Animagic a lot more because a lot of times after the convention on Cosplay.com and LiveJournal, people was like, "Yeah, Animagic was amazing, yeah, yeah," and like I wish I had that bombast and that energy after Animagic. Like, yeah, I had a good time, but dot dot dot. I don't want to talk about why I didn't have a good time.
Hmm.
Why there were things that like prevented me from like like yeah. I'm like whereas like I like this part of it, I like this part. I'm glad I got to war this, but just kind of like yeah, just kind of wish I just was around better people to really appreciate what people saw about Animagic. And again, I just really hope like a lot of people um, have grown up since then and also acknowledge the work that I've done for convention reports and to also just talk about conventions because I don't really like playing identity politics in this context, but because it happens like yeah like y'all know that like, hi, I'm just as capable as anyone else to take cosplay photos and to write convention reports, edit convention music videos, and all that fun stuff. So, like, hi, yeah, we're just as capable. Anywho, there's a cat on our slide. It says, "Have you hugged your cat today?" One of the window decors.
Hmm.
And again, just showing off just some.
I do remember like the windows being decorated. Come to think of it, I'm sure that's one of the windows that was broken. I bet someone got some of their stuff wrecked that
I
way
hope they
too.
didn't take the cat because I like that
I don't think it
cat.
was that room. I was like, I remember seeing some of the things on that, and I think one of the windows that was broken may have had stuff. I'd probably someone like messing around with the things on the window, and probably, yeah.
And here's a photo of my two buddies, Albert and Lionel, um, playing gun fu with their cameras. I think like on the last day, I forgot what year it was. They decided like just like F it, let's just do gun fu photos like with our cameras. All right, closing remarks. On YouTube, follow us over at Scarlet Rhapsody Convention Cultured. Twitter, you can follow us at Cons and Churros. Facebook, follow us in Scarlet Rhapsody. Twitch, here you are at Dame Asdable. Website, just check us out on www.scarlet-rhapsody.com. And remember, don't lose your way. And we hope to see you at the con. And we are ending this stream.
Yay, the tea was really good.